Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita teruskan lagi kelas kita dengan chapter yang kedua, Literature Review and Research Topic Identification. Okay, this slide was prepared by Puan Wan Siti Hafizah binti Wan Muhammad Azmi. Right. A literature review is a survey of scholarly sources on a specific topic. It provides an overview of current knowledge, allowing you to identify relevant theories, methods, and gaps in the existing research. Writing a literature review involves finding relevant publications such as books and journal articles, critically analyzing them, and explaining what you found. Okay, there are 5 key steps. First, search for relevant literature. Second, evaluate sources. Third, identify themes, debates, and gaps. Fourth, outline the structure. And fifth, write your literature review. Okay, overallnya kat sini, literature review ni adalah satu survey scholarly sources, okay, on specific topic. Maksudnya pergi dekat Google Scholar contohnya, type awak punya topik yang berkaitan specific topik, so awak survey scholarly apa yang orang dah buat, okay, apa yang previous researcher dah buat. Okay, it provides an overview of current knowledge. Okay, bila sebut current knowledge, so the gap, range of the range of knowledge tu must be between 10 years back. So maksudnya kalau sekarang 2021, yang paling lama reference yang kamu boleh cari adalah 2001. Alright, tu kalau 10 tahun lah. Okay, kalau ikutkan sepatutnya 5 tahun ke belakang. Jadi itu indicate the current knowledge. From all of the scholarly research, you can identify the relevant theories yang ada berkenaan topik yang you cari, the methods and the gaps in the existing research. Okay, ingat, cari dekat dalam Google Scholar. Okay, writing a literature review involve finding relevant publications. Nak tulis literature review ni mesti yang ada dekat dalam buku ataupun yang ada dekat dalam jurnal artikel, bukan dekat Wikipedia, bukan dekat Google, bukan dekat YouTube. Okay, critically analysing them. So baca buku, baca journal paper, tengok review paper, tengok research yang orang dah buat. Okay, and then try to analyze all of the knowledge that you find. Okay, and then apa finding tu? Okay, catat. Contohnya tajuk tu berkenaan dengan the pre-treatment process of waste cooking oil. So daripada tajuk, kita dah boleh identify literature review apa yang kita nak kena cari. Contoh, yang pertama pasal waste cooking oil. Okay, kita kena study on waste cooking oil. Right? Okay. Jadi cari review berkenaan dengan waste cooking oil. Cari review mana info ada pasal cooking oil, masuk dekat under waste cooking oil. Okay. Cari lagi jumpa, masuk point tu dekat waste cooking oil. And then another point that you need is about the pre-treatment. Okay. Pre-treatment. Okay, cuba cari. Contohnya this researcher A, dia buat pre-treatment on waste cooking oil pakai treatment apa? Okay, and then this researcher B, dia buat pre-treatment on waste cooking oil pakai treatment apa? This researcher C, dia pakai treatment apa? Okay, so pre-treatment on waste cooking oil ada berapa jenis? Contoh type A, okay, method A, okay, method B, and method C, and method D. Okay, jadi cuba cari info pasal method A, compile dekat dalam satu method tu, letak point dekat situ. Kalau jumpa lagi literature review yang guna method B untuk pre-treatment oil, letak dekat B. Mungkin dia tak buat pre-treatment untuk waste cooking oil. Mungkin dia buat pre-treatment untuk margarine. ataupun butter to remove free fatty acid kan, ataupun dekat dalam mana-mana tempat lain lah, mungkin hydrogenation process ke kan, yang dalam refining punya ke kan, dia kan remove waste cooking oil, FFA dulu kan. Okay, jadi method tu tulis one of the point method tu and then compile the information under the subtitle. Lagi, method apa lagi? Contoh, saponification to remove the FFA. So, compile of the method under saponification punya proses. Alright, dah compile the point, baru you susun balik point tu. Yang mana kena duduk atas, mana kena duduk bawah. Okay, setiap kali kita tulis point yang kita jumpa, jangan lupa letak dalam kurungan tepi tu citation. Siapa nama orangnya yang kata benda tu. Next, cari lagi jumpa, tulis lagi. Okay, ni pasal apa? Hydrogenation pula. Letak bawah topik hydrogenation. Okay, tulis kat situ. Jangan lupa compile, tulis kat tepi tu siapa yang kata benda tu. Dah ada information, rearrange balik. Dalam setiap subtopik, rearrange balik. Yang mana perlu duduk atas, mana perlu duduk bawah. Kemudian karang balik menggunakan cara you sendiri. A good literature review doesn't just summarize sources. It analyzes, synthesizes, and critically evaluates to give a clear picture of the state of knowledge on the subject. Maksudnya, dia tak sekadar bagi summary. Daripada poin-poin yang kamu compile tadi, dia bukan sekadar bagi summary, tapi from the summary of your compilation, you can give a conclusion. So maksudnya kalau macam ni, probably dia boleh menghasilkan yang macam ni, macam ni. Okay, so you analyze and synthesize or evaluate the summary that you obtained just now. Then, why write a literature review? When you write research paper, you will have to conduct a literature review to situate your research within existing knowledge. The literature review gives you a chance to demonstrate your familiarity with the topic and scholarly context, develop a theoretical framework and methodology for your research, position yourself in relation to other researchers and theories, show how your research addresses a gap or contributes to a debate. Okay. Alright, so steps to write the literature review. Yang pertama, the first step is search for relevant literature. Okay, before you begin to search the literature, you need to clearly define the topic. Okay, so clearly define your topic. You already have your topic. Then you make list a keyword. Contohnya tadi saya kata the pre-treatment process for waste cooking oil to remove free fatty acid. So what you need to do, you have to know what is your keywords of your topic. For example, pre-treatment. Then the keyword is free fatty acid. Then another keyword is waste cooking oil. Okay, include each of the key concepts of variable you are interested in and list any synonyms and related items. Okay, the second step is search for relevant sources. Okay, search for relevant sources where you can find your source. Okay, but go to Google Scholar and you can write your keyword there. Okay, there are many sources will appear in the Google Scholar, so you can click any of results from the Google Scholar because all of the results appear in the Google Scholar are relevant. Okay, for you to use. Okay, make sure you set the period years. Okay, between 2011 until 2021 or to current. And then first, when you get the paper, first thing first, you have to read the abstract. Okay, then when you read the abstract, you will know that either the paper is useful to your topic, useful to your research or not. Find out whether an article is relevant or not. So read the abstract first. You can check the bibliography of the book or article to find the relevant source. So for example, when you read the paper, either the paper is helpful or not. Okay, you go to the bibliography, the references at the back, and you find another article that related. Okay, take note of recurring citations. Okay, jangan lupa bila you dah dapat info daripada paper tu, jangan lupa untuk buat citations. Okay, citation ni maksudnya you kena catat. Okay, siapa yang kata information yang you ambil? Siapa yang kata benda tu? Kalau I tanya, siapa cakap? Mana you tahu? Okay, that is the citation. The second step is evaluate and select sources. Okay, for each publication, ask yourself, what question or problem is the author addressing? Yeah, bila you baca the paper, okay, you have to know what is the main problem of this paper. Why does he or she or they, okay, did the research? Okay, what are the key concepts and how are they defined? What are the results and conclusion of the study? Yes, betul. Okay, when you know the problem and you know the process of research work there, and then you go to the results. Okay, what did they obtain? Okay, from the experiment. Okay, and then what they conclude from the research. Right, the conclusion is important because in the conclusion you can get the another problem statement, you can get the limitation that you can for you to further your research. Okay, you can get something informative lah from the paper. How does the publication relate to other literature in the field? Okay, does it confirm, add to, or challenge established knowledge? Maksudnya, adakah paper tu adakah rujukan yang seiring ataupun dia boleh jadi tambahan kepada you punya research ataupun dia sebenarnya ada challenge. For example, okay, for example, you want to introduce another novel method on how to pre-treat the waste cooking oil to remove free fatty acid. The existing method, for example, already have esterification, saponification, for example. So for the existing method is the challenge to your new method. Okay, so you have to know what is the limitation or what is the drawbacks from the previous works. Okay, that makes you to introduce the another new work. Okay, that is the challenge of your work. Then you can take the paper or the research work as your literature review for you in order you to introduce a new method. Okay, how does the publication contribute to your understanding of the topic? What are the strengths and weakness of the research? If there is strength from the research, then you can get the knowledge top up in your research work or support your research work. If there is weakness, then you can take it as the problem statement. Okay, take it as your problem statement in order for you to improve the weakness in your research. As you read, you should also begin the writing process. Take notes that you can later incorporate into the text of your literature review. It is important to keep track of your sources with citations to avoid plagiarism. You can use our free citation generator to quickly create correct and consistent APA citation. Okay, nak buat citation sebenarnya kita ada apps. Kalau tak banyak, boleh je buat manually. Okay, kalau rasa susah, kita ada apps. Okay, nanti boleh tanya saya balik apps apa yang boleh kita guna untuk buat citation. Okay, apps ni sebenarnya untuk lebih memudahkan korang lah untuk tulis citation supaya setiap apa yang kamu citekan dekat dalam writing, okay, semua listed dekat dalam reference nanti. Tak ada yang tertinggal. Sebab semua yang ada dalam citation dekat dalam writing, mesti ada dekat dalam reference. Okay, APA in-text citation. APA in-text citation consists of the author's last name and the year of publication. Okay, for example, saya ada tulis paper tahun 2020. Jadi, nama saya adalah Syahirah Yahya. So, how to cite my paper? Okay, last name Yahya, comma, and the year of publication 2020. Tutup kurungan. So, in the bracket, Yahya 2020. Okay. Contohnya, Aminah binti Ali. Aminah binti Ali, dia publish a paper in 2021. So, how to write the citation? Ali 2021. If you are citing a specific part of a source, you should also include the locator such as page number or timestamp. Okay. The in-text citation can take two forms, parenthetical and narrative. Okay. Both types are generated automatically when citing a source of scripts APA citation generator. Ni kalau you pakai apps lah. Kalau pakai apps, automatic dia akan automatic keluar. Okey, apa beza parenthetical citation dengan narrative? Kalau parenthetical citation, maksudnya kita tulis dulu apa yang dia kata. Contohnya saya kata pasal kalau nak masak kena pakai minyak yang bersih, kena pakai minyak yang baru. Kan, itu tu dalam paper saya saya kata kena pakai minyak yang baru, tak boleh pakai minyak yang terpakai. Jadi, you pun tulis dalam paper you. Okey, kita sepatutnya nak memasak, kita kena menggunakan minyak yang baru. Okey, buka kurungan Yahya 2021. Maksudnya, siapa yang kata nak memasak kena pakai minyak yang baru? Yahya 2021 tadi. Okay, atau another way, you can also write the citation in the type of narrative citation lah. So how? Okay, you can say that macam yang kedua tu. Okay, Yahya dalam kurungan 2021 kata, okay, mengatakan bahawa jika kita nak memasak, kita kena guna minyak masak yang baru. Macam tu. Okay, so maksudnya kalau cara yang pertama tadi, kita bagi tahu dulu statement dia apa, dalam kurungan kita tulis nama dia. Atau kita bagi tahu dekat orang, oh Aminah kata macam ni. Kalau kita nak buat gini, kita kena buat gini. Jadi kita tulis directly nama dia tu dalam perenggan, bukan dalam kurungan. Kita tak asingkan nama dia. Kita tulis directly kata macam ni. Alright, the third step is identify themes, debates, and gaps. To begin organizing your literature reviews, argument, and structure, you need to understand the connections and relationships between the sources you have read. Okay, you have read. Based on your reading and notes, you can look for, identify themes, debates, and gaps. The first, apa yang you nak kena tengok? Trend and patterns. Okay. Okay, trend and pattern. So, tengok teori dia, method dia, tengok result dia. Do certain approaches become more or less popular over time? Kan? Okay, the second thing, you tengok themes dia. Okay, what questions or concepts recur across the literature? Okay, the third thing is debates, conflicts and contradictions. Where do sources disagree? Kan? Kat mana konflik tu berlaku? Kat mana contradict? Contoh orang ni kata macam ni, you buat jadi macam ni. So, there is contradiction. So, you have to give the reason why you have the contradict result compared to the previous research. Pivotal publications. Are there any influential theories or studies that changes the direction of the field? And the gaps. What is missing from the literature? Are there weaknesses that need to be addressed? Okay, this step will help you to work out the structure of your literature review and, if applicable, show how your own research will contribute to existing knowledge. Okay, example of trends and gaps. In reviewing the literature on social media and body image, you note that first, most research has focused on young women. Second, this is an increasing interest in the visual aspects of social media. But there is lack of robust research on highly visual platforms like Instagram and Snapchat. This is a gap that you could address in your own research. Okay. Step 4. Outline your literature review structure. There are various approaches to organizing the body of a literature review. You should have a rough idea of your strategy before you start writing. Depending on the length of your literature review, you can combine several of these strategies. Okay, first chronological, okay, which is organized by time, thematic, organized by theme, methodological, organized by methodology, theoretical, and organized by theoretical approach. So in one topic of your literature, for example, just now I give you for example the pre-treatment. Okay, so the pre-treatment step. So you can arrange the your literature review writing first by the chronological. Siapa buat dulu pada tahun ni, siapa buat macam ni. Pada tahun ni siapa buat macam ni. Pada tahun ni siapa buat step macam ni pula. Okay. And then thematic. Okay, by theme. Okay, and then you can arrange by the methodology. Okay, contohnya cara yang sama which is contoh esterification, tapi researcher A buat method yang macam ni, dia pakai let's say dia pakai HCl. Okay, and the second researcher dia pakai method macam ni, pakai H2SO4. Okay, and then the another method dia pakai macam ni, dia pakai acid lain, phosphoric acid contoh. Okay, for the theoretical, so organize by theoretical approach lah. Okay, literature review structure strategies. Okay, so A, chronology. The simplest approach is to trace the development of the topic over time. So kita tahu over time siapa mula-mula dia keluar macam mana dulu, and then dah di-improve by siapa, and next time tu cara macam mana, and then improve by siapa pula. However, if you choose this strategy, be careful to avoid simply listing and summarize sources in order. Okay, B, methodological. Okay, kalau kita nak arrange in step of methodological, if you draw your sources from different disciplines of all field stats, use a variety of research methods, you might want to compare the results and conclusions that emerge from different approaches. For thematic, okay, if you have found some recurring central themes, you can organize your literature review into subsections that address different aspects of the topic. Okay, and then for the theoretical, a literature review is often the foundation for a theoretical framework. You can use it to discuss various theories, models, and definitions of key concepts. Alright, step yang kelima, write your literature review. Tadi compilation of information dah ada ni, and then you want to write your literature review. Okay, you must follow this arrangement in your paragraph. First must starting by introduction, and second must followed by body, and the third must followed by conclusion. Each point that you want to write, okay, not each of the paragraph, but actually each of the points. So for example, first part of literature review is is the pre-treatment method. Okay, so for the pre-treatment method, you have a few methods that you found. Contohnya esterification, hydrogenation, saponification, kan, acidolysis for example. So the first for esterification, you must starting with introduction. Okay, for the body, then you cerita lah. Okay, for the body, you cerita for esterification method ada buat macam ni, result dapat macam ni, buat macam ni, result dapat macam ni. Okay, you have to tell all of the stories. And then for the conclusions, you have to conclude overall that you have all of your storyline just now for the esterification process. And then second thing for the hydrogenation, for example. So you have to give the introduction for hydrogenation dulu. Then for the body, you ceritalah apa yang orang dah buat dengan hydrogenation method. Orang buat macam mana, result dapat macam mana. Okay, berapa persen yang reduce. Okay, and then you have to conclude all of your storyline of the hydrogenation. Okay, and begitulah yang seterusnya. Alright, LR introduction. Okay, how to write the introduction, dissertation literature review. If you are writing the literature review as part of your dissertation or thesis, reiterate your central problem or research question and give a brief summary of your scholarly context. You can emphasize the timelines of the topic. Many recent studies have focused on the problem of AIDS, okay, or you can highlight a gap in the literature review. Okay, for example, while there has been much research on AIDS, few researchers have taken why into consideration. Okay, contoh. So, dalam you punya literature review, you boleh recall balik your problem statement. Apa benda. Okay, jadi from your problem statement, you boleh ceritalah apa benda yang orang dah buat. Lepas tu apa yang orang dah buat tu, apa lagi problem dia. That is your problem statement. Okay, stand-alone literature review. If you are writing the stand-alone paper, give some background on the topic and its importance. Macam tadilah saya kata, kalau you buat pasal hydrogenation, so bagi background sikit pasal hydrogenation sebelum masuk body. Discuss the scope of the literature review. You will review, for example, the time period of your sources and state your objective. Okay, what new insight will you draw from the literature? Okay, then for the body, as you write, you can follow these steps. Alright. Okay, first, summarize and synthesize. Okay, summary kan balik apa benda yang korang dah jumpa and then synthesize the finding. Give an overview of the main points of each source and combine them into a coherent whole. Analyze and interpret. Don't just paraphrase other researchers. add your own interpretations. Where possible, discussing the significance of findings in relation to the literature as a whole. Yang ketiga, critically evaluate. Mention the strengths and weaknesses of your sources. Okay? And then write in well-structured paragraph. Use transition words and topic sentences to draw connections, comparisons and contrasts. And then for the conclusion, you should summarize the key findings you have taken from the literature and emphasize their significance. Okay, contoh, kalau stand-alone literature review, you have to discuss the overall implications dan juga make suggestions for future research lah. For future research tu indicate kalau you nak buat apa. Kan? Okay, dissertation, thesis or research paper. Okay, show you how the literature review has informed your approach and state what gaps your research will address. So, okay, bila you dah cerita, you dah tahu apa masalah dia, and then you can say that, okay, if this method give this blah result, but there is still lack of something, so it is suggested that should apa-apa. So apa yang should apa-apa tu menunjukkan kepada research yang perlu you buat lah. Okay. Okay, this is the example of literature paragraph. Body image issues have been widely associated with social media usage, particularly in young women. The relation between media depictions and body image concerns is well established. A meta-analysis by Grab, Ward and Hyde 2008. Kalau tengok kat sini nampak tak? Dia ini cara apa tadi? Naratif Dia bagi tahu nama orang dulu. Conclude that exposure to mass media is linked to body image dissatisfaction among women. However, in an area of rapidly changing digital technologies, the mass media paradigm is no longer adequate for understanding how people engage with image, and findings of older studies like this one may not be generalizable to younger generation. In light of this changing landscape, researchers have become increasingly interested in the specific effects of social media. Perloff, 2014, theorized that the interactive aspects of social media may influence its impact on body image and mentions that young women are among the most active social media users. Several empirical studies have focused on Facebook usage in adolescent girls. Okay, tengok Yang pertama tadi Perloff menteorikan bahawa bla itu untuk ayat pertama. Ayat kedua tu diambil orang lain pula yang cakap. Several empirical studies have focused on Facebook usage in adolescent girls. Siapa yang kata dalam usia remaja ni orang guna Facebook? Tigerman and Slater yang kata dan juga Meir and Gray yang kata. Okay, bukan pandai-pandai. Diorang yang kata. Okay, kemudian in young adult women, Smith, Helms and Joyner yang kata. Furtherly et al. Kenapa kena ada et al? Et al ni sebenarnya macam and the co-workers lah. Okay. Dia ada kumpulan dia tapi kumpulan dia lebih daripada 3 orang. So, kita sebut nama pertama sahaja. Selebihnya tu kita tak tulis, kita tulis et al. Okay. Kalau dia ada 3, kita masukkan 3 nama. Cohen, Newton, John and Slater. While a systematic review by Holland and Zimmerman confirm a relationship between social networking and body image for the both women and men. Okay, tengok dalam tulisan warna merah tu kat situ dia ada 1, 2, 3, 4 citation. Dia comparekan 4 citation tu dalam satu perenggan. Across these studies, there is consistent evidence that kalau yang warna hitam ni tengok dia dah synthesize lah. There are consistent evidence that body image issues are influenced not by social media usage in general, but by engagement with the visual and interactive aspects of these platforms. Nonetheless, there is a lack of robust research on more highly visual social media, such as Instagram and Snapchat, that have gained more recent popularity among younger generations. Okay, so that's all for the literature review. Have a good luck in writing your literature review. That's all. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.